tonight. It was a tense council meeting in Quesnel on Tuesday where the mayor resisted calls to step down. Plus, new statistics show that travel across Canada is increasing, so how will that affect Prince George? And we get to meet the new superintendent of School District 57. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Adam Burles. Eddie is off tonight. It was a heated council meeting on Tuesday night in Quesnel as Mayor Ron Paull resisted calls to step down as mayor after revelations came to light that his wife was distributing a controversial book. But more information was also brought forward on Tuesday, which further puts a strain on the relationship between the city and First Nations in the region. A march to support truth and reconciliation took place before Tuesday night's contentious council meeting in Quesnel. The march was in response to the revelation that Mayor Ron Paull's wife, Pat Morton, was distributing a book that downplays the history of residential schools in Canada.
Nobody is ever going to change what has happened to me at the residential school. Nobody's going to change it by distributing the books.
The march concluded at City Hall, where an estimated 350 to 400 people were in attendance, and tensions were high inside a packed council chambers when a new piece of information was revealed.
Since this point in time, it has come to our attention that Mayor Paull himself has been handing out these books to individuals. So that is not a factual statement.
It came to light that he had physically handed out the books himself. So he lied in this chambers.
At the previous council meeting, Mayor Paull had stated that he had not read the book, and in light of the new information, 3 councillors, Scott Elliott, Lori-Ann Rudenberg, and Tony Goulet, called for Mayor Ron Paull to step down. Mayor Paull denied the allegations against him that he himself was handing out the book and resisted calls to step down.
The next election is on Saturday, October 17, 2026, and I'm convinced that I want to stay and work through to that date.
Chiefs from multiple First Nations showed up and had the opportunity to speak, and they too were calling for change.
We only see one step moving forward, is that we can no longer work with this mayor, and we will not work with the city of Quesnel until that issue has been resolved at some level.
Many speakers used the public remarks portion of the meeting to relive painful moments and also tell council how much the events of the last 2 weeks have affected them.
Whoever wrote that book, they weren't in residential school with us. They didn't know what we went through.
Now the conversation has turned to what council will do now to try and repair the damage that has been done.
We've got to do something for reconciliation to make this right, and I don't feel with the mayor at the helm that that's going to happen.
From here, a report for a motion of censure will be brought forward at the next city council meeting. A motion of censure is a motion expressing condemnation of an official's actions. Adam Burles, CKPG News. Prince George RCMP made an unusual drug discovery during its most recent drug bust. Down on a local trail near the 6800 block of Fairmont Crescent in College Heights, police found 3 buried cases full of drugs and cash. Police seized around $5,000 in cash and 400 grams of illicit and prescription drugs. The investigation remains ongoing, and it's currently unknown if there is any connection to other recent drug busts. RCMP added this seizure of drugs was thanks to a community member calling the police when they saw the cases and said community tips are always appreciated.
We're encouraging residents to continue to do the same thing. If you notice something suspicious in your neighborhood, report it to the non-emergency line so we can follow up on it and perhaps catch more or pick up more illicit drugs off our streets. It might appear to be innocuous or maybe no big deal, but if it appears suspicious to you, it's worth reporting to our non-emergency line, or you can also report it via our online crime reporting. That way at least we have statistics of where suspicious activity is happening, what our residents are finding to be unusual in their neighborhoods, and we can keep track of those details as well.
Prince George Fire Rescue responded to an outbuilding fire on University Hill at around 2:40 p.m. yesterday. Smoke was visible from the downtown area. 3 hauls were dispatched but could not reach the source of the smoke. Shortly afterwards, firefighters did attack the fire on foot using a side-by-side. The fire was discovered to be an encampment with 1 structure, and a patch of field about 150 square meters was burned. The crews were able to contain the fire from spreading using shovels and rakes. There are no injuries to report from this fire. Members of Share Hope and others headed to council last week asking for support for a program to help newcomers to our city. The most recent flood of refugees has come from Ukraine, but there is a hurdle to getting them settled. Cheryl Jan reports.
It was 8 years ago. Rose Thoma and her family landed at the Prince George Airport from Syria.
Can you imagine living a normal life in your own country, having your own job, enjoying your relationship with your friends, people, your relatives, and your culture, practicing your culture, and then suddenly, the war starts, and then you have to leave.
That was Rose's experience with her family fleeing conflict. She has since created Oasis, an organization that helps with settlement of refugees. And 8 years after she landed in Prince George, hundreds of Ukrainian refugees did the very same thing, trickling in over the course of several months. In a presentation to council, Share Hope and Oasis spoke of how language is one of the largest barriers to employment.
You can meet high educated people, and they are ready to work in clean companies. They tell me, clean companies, we are ready, Rose, just find us anything. We are ready, they are ready to work anything, just as a start. But then what really prevents them from doing this, from having that job, is the language part.
And that is a significant barrier to newcomers.
IMSS and CNC do not have school to teach English in the summer. So we're looking to set something up, because that's 4 months of no lessons. Especially that's tough for the ones who have just recently arrived this year. And definitely it really goes hand in hand. If you speak English well, you can get a job.
Share Hope is now applying for funding to fill that void with a program called Help for Newcomers.
This new program, and working along with Oasis, because they are the ones that are going to take the ball and run with it. We're applying as Share Hope Society to NDIT, but we will use that money to help Oasis to set up the lessons.
For those Ukrainians who initially arrived in Prince George, 33 have moved on to other opportunities within the country, and 10 have returned to Ukraine. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.
Stats Canada is reporting a national increase in tourism just as we head into the tourism season for Prince George and our region. And Tourism Prince George is gearing up for it. Once again, Cheryl Jan has a story.
In April of 2021, when the doors to travel began to take off, 7,500 passengers came through the doors of the Prince George Airport in April of that year. That figure leapfrogged to almost 13,000 by June of the same year. In fact, StatsCan is reporting a 2.3% growth in tourism last year.
I think 2023 as a whole was a pretty good year for us in the tourism sense in terms of revenue. So that was not too much of a surprise. I think here locally as well. Really good numbers, especially when we talk about the MRDT, the hotel room tax, but kind of across the board a pretty positive 2023 from tourism-related spending.
In a recent report to Council, Tourism Prince George noted the total projected revenue has increased by 14%, largely as a result of a forecasted increase in the municipal and regional district tax revenue, or hotel tax. The total expenses have increased by 38% from 2023.
One of the trends we have been seeing, though, is people are delaying their reservations a little bit more than they typically would. So we're still seeing those people, the really popular BC Parks camping trips, Mount Robson, the Bowen Lakes, things like that, they get scooped up right away. But people are delaying their reservations a little bit more and kind of waiting to see what's happening in the world in terms of a weather standpoint before they book.
When it comes to tourism in this region, rubber tire traffic is our bread and butter. And one notable observation from the StatsCan report is that pre-expenses for things like recreational vehicles, pleasure craft, and camping saw a decrease.
Well, I mean, and they're talking about Q4 of 2023 in that report. So hopefully that that's such a small need for Q4 anyways. We'll see what happens this year. I think it could go one of two ways. Depending on what's happening with the weather, what we see in terms of forest fire and other weather-related events happening in the summer.
Air travel saw the largest jump at 34%, but the Prince George Airport was in a strange place all through COVID. It kept its head above water with people flying in and out of all the mega projects that were happening. But there are current challenges.
But definitely 2023 was a bounce back again, and I know the airport will be giving their annual public meeting in the next couple months here, so they'll be sharing all the information. But I know that it is swinging back up. We're getting close back to those levels, and still waiting for a lot of the flights to return. And I think that's less on the demand side and more just on the capacity from the airline side. So.
There are 6 key pillars in 2024: marketing, visitor services, business development, destination development, organizational effectiveness, and industry outreach. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.
School District 57 welcomed its new superintendent last week, Jamil Aziz. Tommy Osborne met him and had the chance to learn more about who's leading most of our schools in the community.
Jamil Aziz is our new superintendent of School District 57. He has more than 3 decades of experience in a wide variety of roles, such as the superintendent of the Yellowknife Education District No. 1, president of BC Principals, and a president of the Canadian Association of Principals, among many other roles. He says one big thing he's learned from his wide array of experiences is the importance of listening to the community, which he plans to continue doing here.
I want to hear from community. I want to hear from those people who are, frustrated or find challenges with our system. I don't necessarily know that I'll have the answers, but I can't even begin to respond to things if I don't actually know what some of the challenges and issues are out there.
While he is still new to SD 57 and needs some time to catch up on the specifics, Aziz already has some ideas on what he wants to bring to our schools.
I'm really a strong believer that public education is an equity-based system, and so what I want to make sure of is that we do have equity across our district. Funding in every jurisdiction continues to be an ongoing challenge. There's never enough money to go around, so how do we maximize our dollars to make sure that we're providing the best service to students and families, and ultimately that will always be my lens as to what is best for students and families.
Even though he hasn't been with SD 57 for too long yet, he's no stranger to BC, as he started his education career here and has worked in many different areas of the province, so he knows of the challenges that our school district is facing.
We have some challenges in terms of some of our performance data. Our students are not performing, at least in some of the standardized pieces that we have as a system, as well as they could be. Our graduation rates, need improvement, and again, we have to start where we're at, but we have to have conversations and be honest with one another about what it is that we're going to do to improve things.
While he's excited to improve and build upon SD 57's foundation, he added our school district and the province as a whole remains in a great spot. And it's more about continuing to find ways to make life better for students and not a dire situation that needs drastic overhauling. Tommy Osborne, CKPG News.
The lowest gas price in Prince George as of this morning is $1.62.9 per litre at Costco. The lowest gas price in BC as of this morning is in Williams Lake at $1.62.4 per litre. Manitoba currently has the lowest gas prices in the country on average at $1.42.4 per litre. Meanwhile, BC has an average price of $1.90.8 per litre.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Try one of our delicious stuffed cheesy breads, paired up with chicken, pizza, pasta, or dessert for just $8.99 per item.
The Prince George Cougars were victorious last night, cruising to a 4-2 win in Game 3 against the Spokane Chiefs. Now, it might have been Anthony Curry's playoff beard that helped, or maybe the fact that the Prince George Cougars are one of the hottest teams in hockey right now. But we'll give him a pat on the back and we'll give our sports reporter some credit for a prediction he made before yesterday's game.
Who's a player to watch tonight? You can take this anywhere you want. You can go Spokane, you can go Cougars here, but let's start with the Cougars. Who are you watching tonight that you're expecting to have a big game?
I wouldn't say expecting to have a big game. I would say more, hoping picking up the pace, and that would be Zach Funk. He's had a little bit of a rough series so far, still getting some points on the assist side, but have yet to score after that incredible 60-plus goal season.
Playoff, good chance for the Cougars late in the period to tie the game. Here's Thornton, his shot, tip, scores! Zach Funk tips it in the slot, and the game's tied at 1. Will McIsaac in the middle, turn it over. Here's Boria Vallis down to Andre Becker. Holds, waits, goes to flank, cross ice. Vallis scores! Great goal from the Prince George Cougars. Boria Vallis puts it home, and the Cougars have the lead. What a great job from Andre Becker, Zach Funk, and Boria Vallis. Lots of chaos from the Cougars. Funk in front, high, that's blocked. Bonnie trying to cover on the puck. Cougars get a free, we're to 5-on-4 now. Thornton scores! Hudson Thornton, a great goal! Power play goal, and the Cougars lead 3-1. Own goal, Mike Kalak, turn it over, take it away. Becker to Funk, scores! Zach Funk on a great pass from Becker. Michael coughs it up behind his own goal, and the Cougars lead 4-1.
And Zach Funk having a breakout game, recording 2 goals and 2 assists for the Prince George Cougars. He was named the first star of the game for his efforts as the Cats take Game 3 with a 4-2 win over the Spokane Chiefs. Prince George now leads with a 3-0 series lead and a chance to close it out tonight. Puck drop for Game 4 goes for 6:35 and a chance for the Cougars to sweep an opponent for the first time since 2007. The TSX is up 37 points to close at 22,112. The Dow Jones is down 43 points to close at 39,127. And Canfor went down 55 cents to close at $16.08.
Good evening again, everyone. We are in for a pretty dry pattern coming our way yet again. Not a lot of precipitation. We know how badly the province needs it, but just doesn't seem to be happening anytime soon. So for the next several days, at least, going into the weekend as well, we are going to have a lot of dry weather with actually milder temperatures by the weekend. Going back, though, at our AccuWeather Pacific satellite map, again, today wasn't too bad. Turned out to be quite decent, but certainly a little bit cooler than it has been. So here's our future cast as we look ahead to the next 48 hours. Our Thursday looks great. Mix of sun and cloud. A lot of the action is down towards the southeast and off towards the east into parts of Alberta for precipitation. But for us, it's nothing in the way of any real disturbances or organized systems that are coming through. So you can see pretty much throughout a lot of the province, it's going to be dry, and that goes right into our Friday. Looks to be into our Saturday, Sunday as well. Any of the showers could be a little bit more down towards the southern interior, the Okanagan as well. Just a few showers in the mix, but even then, not getting a lot in terms of precipitation anywhere we look. 9 for our day tomorrow, sun cloud mix. 5 up in Fort St. John. Beautiful day in the Peace, but slightly cooler. Up and down the coast, it looks pretty good as well. East of Valemount, 5 with a few flurries expected. So as we look around our broadcast region, you can see it's fairly dry. 8 in Mackenzie, Fort St. James, Vanderhoof as well. Sunshine up towards those areas. The same for us here, but 11 down through Quesnel and going to pick up a few extra clouds for the day tomorrow. McBride 7 and going to see some clouds and flurries in the mix. Here's our country for you and a quick peek at it. 13 in Vancouver, cloudy skies expected. No rain in the forecast though for tomorrow. 5 in Edmonton with fairly cloudy skies as well. So that's a big drop in temperatures from the last couple of days. We see really nice weather through the prairies. Beautiful sunshine. Regina 18, 10 degrees. Winnipeg feeling like spring there. And then a big difference in temperatures and a much cooler and wetter pattern as we go east. St. John's, Halifax, very cool, even seeing that mixed precipitation as well. So a quick look ahead to the weekend, mainly sunny. And again, I mentioned the fact that our temperatures are going to rebound, and that is exactly what's going to happen. So we'll jump into the extended. -9 and clear and cool in Burns Lake tonight. You're going to see mostly sunshine tomorrow, but we'll leave a little bit of a shower in there. 8 degrees, 9 Friday. It's a slow improvement with temperatures. Saturday looks to be the best of the bunch. 10 degrees with beautiful sunshine. Mainly clear in Mackenzie tonight. To -7 will be where you see the temperature get to. So again, feeling a bit cooler overnight for at least a few more days, but up to 11 on Saturday for Mackenzie. Lots of sunshine for the rest of your week and to start off your weekend. In McBride, clouds and showers and even a little bit of snow in there. So it could be that mixed precipitation that we often see for tonight and a little bit more into the morning hours, up to 7 tomorrow. So slightly cooler. Then you're back to really nice temperatures going forward after that. 10 and 13 for Friday and Saturday. In Quesnel, -4 tonight. 11 degrees the next few days. Plenty of sunshine by Friday. You'll still have some overcast skies tomorrow. And for us, it's a pretty dry pattern going right through the week and weekend. -5, clear and cold tonight or partly cloudy. And then a blend of sun and cloud tomorrow, highs of 9. But by Friday, Saturday, things look really bright and quite mild as well going into the weekend and early next week.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Try one of our delicious stuffed cheesy breads, paired up with chicken, pizza, pasta, or dessert for just $8.99 per item.
The Prince George Spruce Kings got in their final day of practice before taking off to Penticton for Game 1 of the BCHL playoffs. Hear from forward Luca Primerano on the matchup.
I think we're really excited as a group. It should be a good series, and it's a good chance for us to prove ourselves on a pretty big stage, playing the best team. So I think we're all just excited to prove ourselves. It helps give us belief, like we can do it, and we can play with them. You know, they're kids just the same age as us. So I think, yeah, it goes a long way with our belief.
And some news in the BCHL, as on Sunday, the KIJHL announced the approval of the Merritt Centennials as an expansion club. This comes after 51 years of operation in the BCHL. However, the team concluded that continuing into the future is no longer viable. Merritt's expansion application was approved unanimously by the KIJHL's Board of Governors. The team will join the Bill Olhausen division, replacing the Summerland Steam, following that franchise's relocation to Williams Lake. The Cents will continue to play out of the Nicola Valley Memorial Arena, and they will finish this season in the BCHL before preparing to start the next one in the KIJHL. It's a CKP3 full of dingers, moonshots, and grand salamis, also known as home runs, as we show you the best big flies that have all happened within the past 24 hours.
We start with a first on the year.
1-1, and that's in the air. Launched down the line. Will it have enough into that corner? It is gone! He got it!
Corey Seager showing off some impressive skill, going down to one knee to get that ball and still putting it over the wall. Next, it's a career first.
Churio, deep right center. Back it goes and gone! First big league homer for Jackson Churio. Using the big part of the field.
And where does he hit it? To the opposite field, right? I mean, that is impressive for a young kid like that. Number one for Churio. Gotta love it. He's a good one. He's going to be good for a long time.
A first to cherish as Jackson Churio hits his first MLB homer, one to remember for the Milwaukee Brewers' budding star. And finally, some Harper magic.
Lefty on lefty. Yeah, it's hooked deep to right center field. No doubt about it. A three-homer game. He caps it off with a grand slam.
That was Bryce Harper's third home run on the night, and what a better way to end it with a grand slam, the definition of going yard, as Harper takes top spot in tonight's CKP3.
That's all the time we have tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Tonight, your last look is the Nechako River. Thank you again for joining us, and have a good night.